What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Hope everybody's having a great day or night whenever you're watching this. I want to hit this video with a bunch of predictions. This is going to be my top 10 NFL quarterbacks for the upcoming 2025 NFL season. 100% just a prediction, just an opinion. I'm going to probably use a little bit of last year, the off season, to kind of grade out how I think the top 10 quarterbacks are going to go. If you hear a loud, annoying squeaking noise in the background of this video, I have a puppy that is, you can see her tail kind of like back there. She's killing a toy right now. So with all that being said, let's get right into it. At number 10, I've got CJ Stroud. I am a huge CJ Stroud fan. It is impossible to not notice that their offensive line might be terrible. It might be terrible in Houston. I love Nico Collins. Joe Mixon's going to miss some games, it looks like. Obviously, they have Nick Chubb, but he's been banged up the last few years. And so Stroud kind of, I'm really going off of this talent that we've seen. He had a regressed year two compared to what he did as a rookie, which was one of the best ever. But I think 10 is a fair number to put him. I think it leaves room for him to be better this season than he was last, have another year under his belt of experience. I think that, QBs going into year three could be a decent jump from year two. And it ultimately may come down to what's around him. But I think 10 is a fair number to put CJ at. Number 9, I have the defending Super Bowl champion, Jalen Hurts. I think everybody knows Hurts he's not a top 5 guy. He's right in that 8 to 12 range. You can really put him anywhere in there, and I think it's fair. I'm putting him at 9. He just got a chip. He has proven that he can win on the biggest stage. Their team is still pretty damn good across the board. They are a little bit banged up going into the season, but I think 9 is fair because it's really hard to repeat. It's really hard to have just as good of another season when you're the hunted. Everybody is going to be gunning for Philly, and ultimately I think 9 is probably the sweet spot for Jalen Hurts. Number 8, I have his division rival, Jayden Daniels. I think Jayden Daniels also had one of the best rookie seasons ever. But the reason I've got him at 8 is I don't even know if Terry McLaurin's going to play for him this season. And losing your wide receiver 1 is a big hit. If I was confident Terry was going to be there in certain things, I might have him a little bit higher. But, hi, how you doing? I got a puppy down here. I just think he's kind of probably due for kind of what happened to CJ Stroud, where probably a little bit of a regress in year 2. And it's going to be interesting to see how he handles expectations, because the Commanders last season, they came in no expectations at all, and then they blew the barn doors off of everything. So now there's going to be some pressure on them. Teams know what you play like. There is data on how you play as a quarterback. I think Jayden Daniels is an excellent quarterback. I can't wait to see how much more he develops. But I think 8 is the sweet spot for Jayden. Number 7, I got a guy that basically revived his career the last couple of years, Baker Mayfield. The man just puts up numbers, and he's kind of a leader of men. Like, he's a dude that the guys want to play for, and he's gonna make big plays. He's gonna make huge things happen, and he's gonna lay it all out there. I think he's really become super underrated, and this is just for this season. I think with them having Mike Evans, Chris Godwin will be back, Emeka Egbuka is there. They're giving a lot of hype to that. Bucky Irving year 2. There's a lot of reasons that Baker Mayfield is due for an explosive season. Number 6, I have Jordan Love. He did just break a finger in the preseason, in training camp, whatever it is. And ultimately, though, I think Jordan Love is a lot like Baker Mayfield. They are just flat-out gunslingers. They're going to let the ball fly all over the field. I think Jordan Love's in for a really good year. I think their team is better than it was last season. And I think that they've got something good cooking. Obviously, you have Matthew Golden. I think Jaden Reed is a really good receiver. Romeo Doubs is there. Dontavian Wicks, as long as he can figure out the hands, which who knows. But they've got a lot of weapons over there, and they're coming into this season ready to rock. Love got hurt week 1 last year. I think it kind of really dinged his whole season with a knee injury, of course, suffered against the Eagles. But I think he's going to have a big year. I think this is the year that Jordan Love stamps himself. Obviously, 2 years ago, he had that crazy back half of the season where he was putting up crazy numbers. I think this is the year that we get the full sample of that. At number 5, I've got my dog, Justin Herbert. I think he's still a top 5 guy. The playoffs have been very frustrating as a Bolts fan, but talent-wise, and I think the season he's about to have is going to be very reminiscent of his rookie season in terms of numbers. They obviously have Ladd McConkey, who played amazing as a rookie. They drafted Marion Hampton as a running back. He could have a really good year as a rookie. Bring in Mekhi Becton, that's big. Draft Trey Harris in the second round. There's a lot of positives to the Chargers offense. Obviously, they did just lose Rashawn Slater for the entire season. That's a big blow at left tackle. But they have a guy that was playing right tackle that is literally just going to slide right on over there, and he's still probably going to be all pro, all level in Joe Alt. So that loss isn't as massive as it's seemingly could have been because they have somebody that can fill in at an elite level. The right tackle spot will probably be weak, but I think overall that offense is young. Jim Harbaugh knows how to just coach winning teams. And Justin Herbert, we know the man can put up the craziest of numbers when the talent is there around him. Keenan Allen's back. That's going to be another thing, kind of just some familiarity there. I really like the offense going into this season. I just think the dude's ready to have a great season with the new weapons, fresh starting basically. This is like a new blooded team. I'm excited for Justin Herbert for this season. At number 4, I have Joe Burrow. I think after what he did last season, like I've been a big like Herbert's better than Burrow guy throughout my time. There is some bias involved in that, but I think what Burrow did last year was like, that was ridiculous what he was doing. And the thing is, their defense is still probably going to be trash, which is going to lead to him having to throw the ball all over the field, probably 50 times a game. And Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Iosivas, there's a lot of guys, Gesicki. Like, there's just a lot of stuff that's going to happen for the Cincinnati Bengals offense. And Joe Burrow is just one of those dudes that he does just perform at an extraordinary level. I've got him at 4. You might be able to argue him higher, but I just think the team around him is going to fail him. And it's going to be a lot of what Justin Herbert dealt with the first few years of his career. So welcome to that life. That's what I think. But I think Burrow was outstanding last season. If they make the playoffs, he probably wins MVP. But, we can't live in a world of ifs and buts and ands and whatever. But I think Burrow is solidified himself as one of the most elite quarterbacks in the league. And I've got him at 4 going into next season. Number 3, I actually probably have like the most controversial name on the list here, being at number 3. Mahomes is 3 for me. I just think that team is fading out, like slowly but surely, and they got annihilated in the Super Bowl. It might have been a wake-up call, possibly, but they're a team that's been at the top for so long. These teams burn up. They're like stars. They burn up. They're getting older. Kelsey is fading down, seemingly. We don't know what's going to happen with Rashid Rice and his suspension. There's not a lot of like crazy big positives to go into the Chiefs right now. I think they have a really good O-line still. But as time goes on, these teams fade out. And I think the weaponry around Mahomes is not what they need in order to win. And I think as a result, he'll probably be like the 3rd best quarterback this season. And he's still amazing talent, still one of the most entertaining players in the league. There's a lot of good things and a lot of annoying things you can say about Patrick Mahomes. But I've got him at 3. I think Lamar Jackson at 2 is where I would go with this. Just because the Ravens really didn't change too much this offseason. Like offensively, there's not like a whole lot that has really happened to the Ravens. And Lamar was amazing last season. But he's in the same boat as Herbert for me, really, when I'm like looking at them. Like I just want to see it go off in the playoffs. Give me that, and you guys are in the argument for number 1 all day long and could very well have it. I don't think much has changed for the Ravens to put Lamar higher. I think they're going to, after what he did last season, duplicating that and replicating that, it's going to be really hard. Granted, he's done this a few years now. But with Josh Allen being my number 1, there's just, what he does is he's like Cam Newton with better accuracy to a degree, right? Or he will just run through your face. He can throw the deep ball crazy well. He did it last season without like a true legit number 1, right? He had an amazing season with that. They just got James Cook signed, so he's ready to rock. Ray Davis behind him is going to be a good backup, complimentary back. We might have a resurgence out of Dalton Kincaid this year. That's kind of a name to watch at the tight end spot. Dawson Knox is obviously, I believe he's still there. I think we could get a nice year or 2 out of Keon Coleman. Obviously, they added Josh Palmer in the offseason, like a decent, like low-end wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 kind of player. I think they got better around the edges on the offense. And ultimately, when you add guys like that, you bring in an Elijah Moore, and your team is ready to rock, I think the Bills are just that team that it's been a few years of this, honestly, but like they're right there. And I think right now, this is probably the best collection of talent that they've had. They don't have any like world breakers other than Josh Allen. I think James Cook is a very formidable RB1, but like they don't have Jamar Chase out there, right? He doesn't have Justin Jefferson out there. There's no AJ Brown out there. I've earned a lot of respect for Josh Allen over the last few years, to where the man is basically Baker Mayfield, but bigger and on steroids, is what it really feels like to me, to where gunslinging, gives it all out every single play. And, you know, those are the kinds of guys I love to watch play. So last year, just me just being honest, Lamar was my MVP last year. I thought he was overall better. Josh got it. I think this is the year that, for me, Josh will probably be just a little bit better than Lamar. I think when you get really any version of the top 5 is probably pretty good. Like these guys, like Herbert, Burrow, Mahomes, Lamar, Allen, those guys, and I think Herbert's probably, just because we haven't seen the playoff success, and obviously there's a lot of team orientation to that, it's probably just a slight tier off right now. We just need to see it. And like, but Burrow, Mahomes, Lamar, Allen, those guys have all won some games in the playoffs and done some things to a degree. It's a pretty fair estimate. I think my honorable mentions probably be, I think Dak could have a really big year with George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb out there. I think Jared Goff, but the reason he probably doesn't make it for 10 for me is because he's going to be with a new offensive coordinator, kind of a different overall, I guess, idea of that offense. I think he's probably due for a little bit of a regression. And then Matthew Stafford. I think Stafford's been amazing. I just think he's getting older. He's coming into the season hurt. That's not something I want to, say potentially could be top 10. I just don't feel confident doing that. But Stroud, Hurts, Jaden Daniels, Baker, Jordan Love, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, Pat Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen. Those are my top 10 guys. But I do want to know, as I always do, what would you change? What would you change with my list? There's got to be some things you would mix up. There's guys probably I didn't name, or maybe I've got some guys too high, some guys too low. I think this is pretty strong. I mean, it is just my opinion, so I mean, it's whatever I believe, I guess. But I want to know what you believe. So let me know in the comments. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe if you like this kind of content. Please like the video. I appreciate you for watching. I'm done. This is my top 10 for the QBs for this upcoming season. I hope I get this 100% right. But let's be honest, that's probably not going to happen. So, yeah. But I'm done. Peace.